Welcome to Takaro, the podcast where we break down the news of today for you. I'm your host, Kiran.
Hi, I am Deepkanya, and thank you so much for listening in. Today, we are going to be talking about sports.
Sports. It is one of the most polarizing topics, I think. If there are people who would love a team, love a sports person, and then it starts getting really emotional and really, there are a lot of sparks that fly with sports, right?
That's true, but it's also one of those things that really brings people together, right?
True, true.
People get passionate, people come together, people support the same team. There's a lot of excitement. So, sports is
Yeah.
pretty amazing actually, in so many ways.
It is. It actually is. In fact, we love hearing from you and taking your feedback and suggestions. And this episode is dedicated to that 11-year-old who also happens to be a very big sports fan from Mumbai, who wanted us to talk about sports and specifically the T20 Cricket World Cup that just got done.
And while the men's T20 Cricket World Cup got over a few weeks ago, with the Indian team bringing home a World Cup trophy after 13 years, there is a lot more that we could cover today. Cricket's done, but there's so much more to look forward to in the world of sports.
Yeah, and just recently we had the Wimbledon, the European Championships in football, also known as the Euro 2024. I'm sure everyone heard about both these over the last weekend. And what I'm personally really excited about is the Olympics, which is almost here.
Yes, just a week away. I'm super excited, and I love the opening ceremony because we all sit and watch that. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's so much fun. The theatrics, the way there are dances, and how the Olympic torch is lit is always a big surprise every year.
But before we talk about the Olympics, what's your favorite sport, Kiran?
Oh, it's tennis. Tennis is definitely my favorite sport. I mean, I played it through school and college, and I played it professionally as well. So for me, Wimbledon is that championship in tennis, which is the most important. And winning it is like the crown jewel, right, for tennis. In fact, this year, we had some really exciting matches. In the women's finals, we had Barbara Krejcikova playing against Jasmine Paoloni. And Krejcikova from the Czech Republic, in fact, won her first ever Wimbledon women's singles titles. And that's amazing. She won 2-1 against Paoloni. And it was probably that jewel in the crown for her, right? Because it's her first ever Wimbledon. So it's amazing. And if you think about the men's side, there was the men's wheelchair tennis competition. You have different competitions for people with different abilities, and Britain's Alfie Hewitt won the singles and doubles championships on the same day. That's pretty amazing.
It is.
And in the men's final, the singles final, we had one of tennis's all-time greats, Novak Djokovic. People either hate him or love him, and he has already won 7 Wimbledon titles.
Which one is it you? Do you hate him? Do you love him?
I admire him for his skill, but I find it very tough to love him. But on the other side, he was playing against Carlos Alcaraz, who is the defending champion. And the defending champion is the person who won the same tournament last year. So Alcaraz came in strong as one of the, potentially one of the favorites in the tournament. And he actually proved it because he won the finals in straight sets. It was honestly not as exciting as a match I was hoping for it to be, because we all gathered together and watched the match, and it got over very quickly. So I was hoping for more of a fight, but very little resistance from Djokovic. But I think what is really important to also consider is that Djokovic, he had a knee surgery just over a month ago. And he still came back and competed at the highest level, beat everyone else, and still got to the finals of the Wimbledon. That is incredible.
Imagine how much work and dedication it takes to be able to recover and come back and perform on an international stage like that.
I can't even start thinking about that. And also, in fact, Alcaraz, who finally won the Wimbledon men's singles, he comes from Spain. And he became the youngest to win the Wimbledon and the French Open in the same year. Wimbledon is on grass courts, French Open is on clay courts, two different type of courts. And it is incredible to be able to win both those tournaments in the same year.
And he's just 21, isn't it?
He is just 21. There are pictures of him watching Djokovic playing at Wimbledon as a kid, like 8-10 years ago, and then he basically saying, I am going to be there one day, and he actually has.
Incredible story, that's true. And that brings me to my favorite time on every episode, which is when I ask you all questions, right? So the first question for today, for all of you listening, is which delicious sweet treat is famously associated with the Wimbledon?
Ooh.
Option 1, banana split. Option 2, apple pie. Option 3, strawberries and cream. So you can think about that one, or if you know the answer, you could ask a grown-up to help you. Send us your answer either on Instagram or on our website.
What? I can't answer this time?
No, hold your horses.
Okay.
While this happened last Sunday, which is July 14th, turns out Spain wasn't done celebrating yet, because that very night, their men's football team went on to win the Euro 2024. Spain beat England 2-1 to mark a historic day for Spanish sports. And in fact, the star players throughout the tournament were two friends, another youngster, Lamine Yamal, who is just 17 years old, and his friend Nico Williams, who has a pretty intense backstory, which we'll probably talk about another day, or you can look it up yourself. Nico Williams scored the first goal against England, and the winning goal was scored by Mikel Oyarzabal, who came on as a substitute towards the end of the game.
That's incredible. I think the celebrations and the parties in Spain would have been going on for like days, right? It's two of the biggest...
Legendary.
Yeah, two of the biggest competitions in each sport. And as you think about it, all of us as individuals who are waiting for this big sporting event so that we can cheer our country in it.
Yes.
What is that?
It is the Olympics.
Yes.
Yes, it's the Olympics, which is going to start very, very soon on the 26th of July on Friday, which is like just about a week away. And it is going to be taking place in Paris this year. Now, if you know, the Olympics takes place once every 4 years. And each year, different countries send a whole contingent or team of, sports people to go and participate in different categories in different sports. So this year, India has a total of 117 athletes who will be traveling to France to participate in games like, table tennis, badminton, sailing, weightlifting, boxing, wrestling, judo, archery. There is a whole bunch of sports that India is going to be participating in this year.
That's amazing. And, actually, I thought of a question. So this time I am going to ask you a quiz question.
Go for it.
Which favorite Indian sport is not currently an Olympic sport? And I'm going to give you 4 options. Is it hockey, cricket, kabaddi, or football?
I know this one. It's cricket.
Oh, you're right. But this is a trick question because there are actually 2 correct answers, because even kabaddi is not in the Olympics this year. So it's cricket and kabaddi.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But you know what's interesting about cricket? And a lot of Indian fans are going to be really happy to hear this. Cricket is going to be introduced in the 2028 Olympics, which is going to be held in Los Angeles.
Oh, next one.
Yes, that's right. The US. So we can look forward to even more T20 cricketing fun, because that's the format that's going to be introduced. And I'm pretty sure this means more medals for India.
Oh, yes, fingers crossed. But did you know that cricket used to be there? It was actually included in the very first modern Olympic Games in 1896. But it was sadly taken out because there weren't enough teams participating, right? So you needed a certain number of teams to make it competitive, and unfortunately there wasn't. And then in 1900, the very next Olympic Games, 4 teams actually played a 2-day test match in Paris. But again, 4 teams, after that they just decided not to include it in the Olympics, since But now I think there are more countries who have cricket teams, so it's going to be interesting the next
Oh,
Olympics.
100%. In fact, now the US is also playing cricket, so they're going to have their own team participating. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
very interesting, few matches to watch. Now, I have a quiz question for you, Kiran.
Oh man,
Okay?
one more. Okay.
Right? Yes, and you get to answer this, right after I
Excellent.
ask it. You
Yeah.
don't have to wait. In which sport did India win its first Olympic gold medal? Wrestling, hockey, or weightlifting?
Yes, Chuck Day. it was hockey. I think the answer was hockey, was it not?
Yes, correct. The answer is hockey. In fact, you know what? We have won a total of 8 gold medals in field hockey. And 3 out of these were actually won before India won its independence from the British.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I think when we're talking about Olympics, there's a lot of sport. As I said, there's a lot of entertainment as well. There's
Hmm.
the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony. There are a lot of performances, and I think one of the most fun things about the Olympics is that every Olympics, the country that's hosting the Olympics gets to pick its own mascot. And the name of the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics mascot is the Olympic Freesia. This mascot is based on a cute little red pointy hat, which is a traditional French hat, and it's been chosen because of its symbol of freedom, which is fairly powerful.
And there is a second mascot as well, by the way, who is the Paralympic Freesia. Now, right after the Olympics gets over, the Paralympics
Hmm.
begins in
Oh,
Paris. So the Paralympic Freesia wears a running prosthetic, which is basically a metal leg because she doesn't have one leg. The Paralympics is for people who are differently abled and it will start in Paris right after the Olympics.
that's awesome.
Have you seen pictures of the little mascots?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like little red birds, but actually, if you look closely, it is a little hat. It's really cute. You should look it up. Did you have a mascot that you really liked ever in the Olympics?
I can't remember their name, but the Olympics that happened in Beijing, they had like these
Uh-huh.
three little characters, and I can't remember their name at all, but they were, yeah, very cute.
Well, I clearly remember one mascot in particular. This was from the Seoul Olympics in 1988. Now, I've just given away how old I am. I'm going to give you more hints. I was 6 years old at that time, and I remember this because it was a little tiger called Hodori. And my dad was traveling for work at that time. He'd gone to Seoul. And that's why that stuck in my head. And I love that little mascot.
Ah, that's amazing. I don't remember it, so I'll have to look it up. Actually, all of you who are listening should go out and type out Olympic mascots and see what you come up with in terms of all the various mascots over the years from an Olympics perspective.
Yeah. So there you have it, a roundup of sports that always brings with it a lot of emotion, a lot of drama, a lot of excitement. As always, if you have any ideas, questions, or comments about this episode or any of the others that we've done, head on over to www.takarokids.com and find the fan section to become a part of our growing community.
And we would really love to hear from you. So if you have an idea of what you would like to hear, or just want a general shout out of your name on the next episode, make sure you tell your parents to message us. And until next time, have a safe and happy week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.